All right, let's just jump right in. Have you ever looked at two small businesses and one owner is totally free, living their life, while the other is just trapped? It's a huge question, right? And the answer? Well, it's not about working harder or being the most talented person in the room. It's about a massive shift in how you think. It's about building systems, not just relying on your skills. And we're going to unpack all of that by following one guy's amazing story.
So let's talk about a guy named Stixs. His dream was probably a lot like yours or mine. He wanted to be his own boss, right? Run his own little printing business, do what he loved, and get that freedom everyone talks about. But man, reality hit him like a ton of bricks. He was the business. I mean, first one in, last one out. He was the sales guy, the printer, the customer service rep. He was everything. He hadn't built a business at all. What he'd really done was build himself a super stressful job that he couldn't even quit.
And Stixs was just broken. He knew that if he took one day off, just one, the whole thing would just stop, dead in the water. But, and this is the crazy part, fast forward just 6 months, he walks into his shop and it's running perfectly without him. So the big question is, how on earth did he pull that off? How did he escape that trap? Well, that's exactly what we're about to find out.
You see, Stixs' story, it's not some one-off thing. It is the classic owner's job trap. And millions, literally millions, of passionate business owners are stuck in it right now. They're so busy working in the business, doing the day-to-day grind, that they never get a chance to work on the business. So let's really dig into what that means.
Okay, look at this. This really spells it out, doesn't it? On one side, you have owning a job. You are the engine. You get sick, the whole thing sputters. You want a vacation? Forget about it. The money stops when you stop. But then look at the other side, owning a business. It runs on systems. The system is the solution. It's what keeps the money coming in, keeps things moving. Even if you're on a beach somewhere, that's the dream, right?
And this right here, this is the core of the whole problem. Author Michael Gerber calls it the technician's trap, and it is so common. It's this fatal assumption that, hey, because you're an amazing baker, you can run an amazing bakery. Or because you're a genius at coding, you can build a huge software company. But see, being good at the technical work has almost nothing to do with knowing how to build a business that does that work. They are two totally different skill sets.
So if you want to get out of that trap, you've got to understand something crucial. Every single business owner is really 3 different people rolled into one. And learning how to balance these 3 identities, that's the secret to breaking free.
All right, so first up, you've got the technician. This is the person doing the actual work, you know? The one baking the cake, writing the code, printing the flyer. Our friend Stixs, he was 100% technician. Then there's the manager. This is the part of you that loves order, that makes the schedules, that creates the structure. And finally, you have the entrepreneur. That's the visionary, the dreamer, the one looking at the horizon and asking, what's next? The problem is, most of us get stuck being the technician, and that's exactly why the business can't get any bigger than what we ourselves can do in a day.
So the big question is, how do you make that jump? How do you go from being the technician to being the entrepreneur? Well, it starts with this really powerful mental shift. You have to start building your business right from day one as if it's the master prototype for thousands of identical copies. Think like you're building a franchise, even if you're just a one-person shop.
I mean, listen to this from Kroc. You don't build a business, you build a system, and the system builds the business. That just says it all, doesn't it? Kroc didn't make McDonald's a giant by being the world's best burger flipper. No way. He built a system so perfect and so repeatable that anyone could do it anywhere. The system was the real product. And you see this pattern again and again with the biggest names out there. Jeff Bezos at Amazon, he said, build systems, trust the systems, let the systems run the business. Amazon wasn't built by one person working really hard. It was built on these incredible, constantly improving systems for everything. The system is what does all the heavy lifting.
And if you want it even more direct, just listen to Elon Musk. If the company depends on you, you don't have a company. Ouch. But it's true, right? If you're the one thing that can be removed without the whole thing collapsing, you don't have an asset. You have a job. The real goal is to make yourself replaceable. That way, the business can grow way beyond just you.
Now, this change, it's not like flipping a switch. It's a journey, and it has these predictable phases. First, there's infancy. That's when you are the business. You do it all. Then comes adolescence. This is where you start to hire people, you try to delegate, and it's usually a total mess, right? It's chaotic because you have a hard time letting go. But the place you want to get to is maturity. That's when the business hums along on its own systems, and you get your freedom back.
Okay, so enough theory. Let's get super practical. How do you actually build this thing? Well, think of it like an architectural plan. Here are the 7 key blueprints you need to design a business that can finally run without you.
So think of this as your freedom checklist. It all starts with creating standard operating procedures, or SOPs. That's literally the instruction manual for your business. Once you have that, you can actually delegate without fear. You can build a real team, not just a bunch of helpers. Then you need to systematize the boring stuff, like automating your money systems. And the fun stuff, like building a strong brand that isn't just you. Every single one of these steps is about one thing: making the business less about you and more about the system, turning it into an actual asset you could one day sell.
Okay, let's just focus on one of these for a second, because it's probably the most important. SOPs, Standard Operating Procedures. These are just the step-by-step guides for everything. How do you open up in the morning? How do you answer a customer complaint? How do you pack an order? The rule of thumb is simple. If you do something more than once, it needs an SOP. And if it's not written down, it doesn't exist. It's just a habit stuck in your head.
And this is such a key mindset shift, you guys. The goal here is not perfection. It's not about creating a system where one genius can do their thing. No. Your goal is duplication. You want to build a system that lets anyone you train get a good, consistent, reliable result every single time. A B+ result that happens 100% of the time is way more valuable than an A+ result that only you can deliver.
Okay, so let's circle all the way back to Stixs. He heard these ideas, and it was like a light bulb went off. He stopped thinking like a burnt-out technician, and he started thinking like an architect. He wasn't just working anymore. He was designing his escape plan.
And here's exactly what that looked like. He literally started writing everything down. Every little task in his shop got its own SOP. Then he hired an assistant. But this time, he trained them using the documents, not just trying to remember everything himself. He delegated real responsibility. He automated his payments and workflows. He started building a brand that had its own reputation, separate from just Stixs the print guy.
He was relentless about it, and it only took 6 months. Think about that, 6 months. He walked into a shop, and for the first time, he didn't feel like a tired employee. He felt like an owner.
Because what he saw was just magic. Orders were flying out the door, customers were happy, his team was running the whole show, totally confident. The business wasn't just getting by without him, it was actually thriving. He finally got the freedom